everybody. This is the Encouragement Conquers All podcast, and we're excited here today because we have another guest on who's going to encourage us and build us up. She's got a lot of questions for us, but if you haven't subscribed to YouTube to check out all the podcasts, we have podcasts from NBA trainers, future, great sports athletes. We've got them from business leaders, we've got them from Christian leaders, Catholic leaders, we have them from great entrepreneurs and examples. Go on and subscribe and check out the Encouragement Conquers All podcast. But we're here today with a young lady, her name's Courtney Abbe, and she actually is a freelance writer. Her dream is to help many people write books, as well as write books herself and write articles, and I really am excited to have her on because she's got a lot of questions for me to encourage her, to help her, to walk with her. And that's really how our life has been. We're just recently just doing my best. She's helping me with one of my new books coming out. And it's really just to help all of you to understand that, guess what, whatever your dream is, whatever you desire, that's good. That desires are good as long as they're going to lead you towards the Lord and towards the great relationships with others. So, Courtney Abbe, great to have you on here. Excited for your questions. Usually I've had men asking me questions. I've never had such a great young lady like yourself. She's all smiles. All the men, when they get on, they're like, all right, we're getting cutting the chase, Fatica. But so, how have things been going before you ask me some questions with the writing, and have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, thanks to you. I feel super privileged and honored to be here and to have such great mentorship, because it's a very difficult path to go down. I think a lot of people avoid it because it's overwhelming and scary, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, the unknown is scary, but what, you never can outgive what you put into something. Like when you give and you pour your heart into something, you always get back in some way, and it'll lead you to the next path. So you can't be afraid of what's to come. But the other thing you've done, well, I had you reach out to one of my past writers, and he actually, people don't know this, but I met him randomly in the mall and found out that he was a writer, and he helped me write my first book, I think 17 years ago. He helped me write that. And he spent hours and hours and hours just totally free-willing, wanting to help. So how's it been meeting another writer who's been writing for over 20 years now? Yeah,
it's great. I really appreciate it. He's super responsive too, and I think that's like the most beautiful thing you've taught me so far. Is a few weeks ago you called me and told me to step on your toes, which I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, but it's
well, you haven't stepped on my toes. I'm like, where is this? I'm like, you've been ghosting me recently. No, I'm joking. No, stepping on toes. Don't ever feel like that your questions or you reaching out to something isn't important to them too. A lot of times when you reach out to people that are mentoring you, or maybe they're older than you and they have a little bit more experience, they're excited to want to help. Mm-hmm. And I think Andrew, he got back to me about you, because he was so excited. Oh, this girl's great, and you should write. He was telling me the book I should write with you. He goes, after you finish this book, you got to write this book with her, because if you two write that book, it's gonna be. All right. I go, all right, Andrew.
Slow down.
Yeah, but it was great that he, and he talked. He talked with me about how you shared with him a battle you had, and how writing has helped you with that. So maybe you could share a little about that battle you fought, and like how it's helped, how writing's helped you.
Yeah, so I've struggled since childhood with OCD. So basically, the way that translates into writing is there's a lot of perfectionism that is paralyzing for me, and I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with when they're like a self-starter. But writing is like the perfect exposure for me, because I'm not gonna succeed if I spend too much time trying to be perfect. And honestly, perfectionism, what it boils down to is it's just pride. So being able to recognize that and work on that has really helped me. So in order to succeed, if I want to prioritize succeeding over being perfect, like both of those things can't coexist. So that's how writing really helps me, because it's super challenging to just trust that God is using my gift to do what he wants. And if I try to be perfect, that's not going to happen. So
yeah, and what you're doing, I have 4 types of coaches that I teach people on. The first type is an inspirational coach. Mm-hmm. Somebody sees like the vision of coaching, that sees like, hey, this is where we need to go, and we need to keep our eyes fixed on that goal.
Yeah.
Then there's, a strategic coach, which I look at you as like a strategic coach. It's more of an OCD type of personality. It's like, hey, look, yeah, but to get to that goal, coach, you inspirational coach, we need to remember that we got to take care of A, B, C, D. In basketball, it's, boxing out, closing out properly. And I actually have a strategic coach on my sideline. He's my assistant coach, Eli, and he helps me with that. And then Anton, my other buddy, helped me with that when with the older team. And then you need a team player coach. You need somebody that is like, hey, look, this isn't about just the goal. This is about the team. This is about caring about people in the moment and one day at a time. Really going, hey, how you doing today? And making sure everybody's okay in that moment, because sometimes we can be so focused on the goal that we forget about it. And then there's a director coach. And I'd fall into an inspirational director coach. And the director coach is focused on, hey, yeah, we need to go there, and all these little things matter. And yeah, okay, care about everybody, but guess what? In order to do that, we need some sanity here, and we need some structure and focus. Yeah. And this is how practice needs to run, and this is how a game needs to run. And make sure to follow through on that process and that structure. And I think with OCD, why I bring this up is we look at OCD, I look at it as more like you're a strategic coach, not like, hey, I have OCD. And then it looks like, oh man, she has OCD, oh my goodness. Right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of reframing their mindset though, right? Like someone very close to me, I remember I had a meeting with him and I was like working on recovery and things like that. And he was like, well, you also have to remember that your OCD is a gift. Yes. And it's why you're so good at what you do. So yeah, just being grateful for anything that God throws my way, even if it's hard, because he's still going to use it. And so I'm, as hard as it's been, I'm still grateful for the struggle.
And you wouldn't be as great of a writer, and you wouldn't be a good thought-provoking person without OCD. So thank God for your OCD. We're gonna make, anybody's got OCD out there, let's go thank the big dog upstairs for that. But no, I had a kid come and go, I'm depressed. I did this, and he appreciates it. Oh, that's so exciting, you're depressed.
Yes.
And he looks at me like, oh, it's not that exciting. I go, look, I couldn't get through it, and I don't want to go through it. I'm sorry for that, but I want to tell you what, every depressed person I've ever met is a high intellectual, sensitive person. And if I always tell people, it's if you take the sensitivity with intellect and you put them together, it's depression. So you have to separate depression from, hey, I get sensitive about this and the feels about this, and this. But guess what? Is my intellect, my overthinking, right, affecting my feels? And so you have to understand to take both of those and kind of like separate them and see where are they clashing so that depression kicks in. But if you separate them, those are 2 great gifts. Yeah. Being intellectual, being a thought-provoking person, and then also feeling for others, being sensitive towards others. So I say you have to find out when the 2 paths cross and connect. And if they connect, it's not good. Right? You don't want your feels connecting with your thought-provoking. Now if it does and it's giving you energy and it's helping you pursue a greater life. So point is that whether it's depression, people of course could imagine this. I've battled, just like Martin Luther King Jr., Billy Graham, all the great orators, I didn't know this, they have ADD or ADHD. All the great orators. Yeah. And when I found out that, wait, whoa, I'm all over the map, but it's not so bad.
That's a gift.
Dr. Martin Luther King and Billy Graham, I'm in good company here. You know? So it's like, do I want to be mad that I don't fall through? I think it's also a concern, which you've been great on, which I want to get to, is like, I've been having a lot of young adults come on this show because I want to like answer their questions. I'm older. I want to give them insights. And it's been great for me that you cared about the insights that I was giving you, and you're open to, because not everybody wants it, what I mean? Like maybe somebody doesn't want it, they're turning off right now, I really don't want this. And it's filled me up that you wanted advice, and you wanted, hey, that's great, I could put this business plan together, or, be able to create this dream of mine, and that's possible, and hopefully I've helped you make that dream possible. But also, like, you're younger than me, and you're also helping some of the dreams that I have, the gym, and a lot of the next book I write is really the spirit I want from anybody going in the gym, because my next book isn't necessarily like, you know, a theological or a philosophical masterpiece. It's more focused on the everyday person and how to stay encouraged.
Right.
And you've helped me say, hey, look, so even though you're younger, you're helping. You're being a part of the process. And my ADD, my ADHD, that's made me concerned about me and going, look, I need a tutor, or I need help, or I need guidance. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think all of us need guidance. I think sometimes when we're smart, like in school, I feel bad for smart people. I mean, everybody's like, you feel bad? Yeah, because they never needed help. I've needed help since I was in the first grade. Like, I was telling my kids, like, I failed kindergarten. I said, they go, Dad, you failed. I go, couldn't tie my shoes very well. They said, you failed. I went to kindergarten twice. You know, it was because of my birthday, but I was telling people I failed kindergarten. But no, I want to help you with these questions. So, and anybody out there, if you have any questions for me, you know, maybe you could jump on and ask me those questions, because I want, look, I want to make it easier for young people. That was my dream when I was 25 years ago. It was so hard to make a difference in people's lives. When I thought if you chose to do what's right, it would be easier. But when you choose to do what's right, it's harder. I was like, dang it. Man, it's harder than passing a class here, you know? So.
Yeah, you can definitely choose an easier path to take, but it's good that you didn't.
No, yeah, who knows what happens. So what are, as you're, you know, on your career and your hope to be a prolific writer, you know, 20 years from now, I might not be alive, but I hope that's going to happen. What questions do you have to get there?
I think the main thing that comes to mind immediately right off the bat, you mentioned that your next book is not necessarily concerned with faith primarily, but so I guess since you often walk into the secular world as a person of faith, like obviously you've probably encountered some opposition.
Of course.
So that's something I worry about, because I do think we shouldn't avoid the secular world because the secular world needs us. But we also can't come on too strong. So I'm just curious about that and how you protect yourself while also ministering to people in a way that makes sense.
I think the first thing is you have to have mentors, you know. You have to have like a mentor that's challenging you to help you to become stronger, somebody that's directing you in life. You need mentors that walk with you in the process so you don't lose your why or your purpose, and they can encourage you, an encouraging mentor that can really build you up. And then you need to look and mentor other people, you know, so that they're like you're watching, like, how's he going to do this? You know, he's jumping into he's a faith guy, but he's jumping into like a faith world, the secular world, so you called it. And that's the first thing. The second thing is this. It's very important to understand this. People are people.
Yeah.
Every person was designed by God. Every person was designed by the Father. And we all desire two things: to love and be loved. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your belief system is. I don't care where you grew up, you know, the city, rural areas, suburbia. Every single person desires to be loved. And that's what we're sharing. And, you know, I use the word encouragement, because encouragement, you know, it kind of like, we're holding people accountable to admitting they want to be loved. We're holding people committed to know that they're valuable and they deserve love and they want to be loved. But also, if that's what you deserve, then the golden rule is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And for us as Christ-centric people, we're saying do as Christ did, which is even a greater call. So I don't see it as, I've never saw it as any different. I actually think, to challenge the religious people out there, it's much more challenging to love religious people than to love non-religious people, because there's more barriers up. There's more blockades. There's more silos. And so in loving people in a non-religious area, those silos and those divisions aren't there. So there's actually freedom. And I have fun doing that because it's just simply, this is just a person in front of me. If they want to get baptized, great. I think it's going to improve their life. If they want to go to church, great. I don't think it's going to hurt their life. It's going to improve their life. Great, go to confession. Come on, free psychology right there, 101.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a no-brainer. I mean, seriously. So for me, it's like, they see I go to church. Like just this last tournament, I had 2 of my players go to church with my son and I. Mm-hmm. And I said, would you pray, a prayer after church from your heart?
Yeah.
And one of the players, literally, he thought I meant out loud because he was just...
That's beautiful.
But if I did that to a religious person,
they'd be like, no.
They would pray silently, right?
Yeah.
This kid prays it like I thought he had like a doctorate in theology or something. I mean, this kid's like, Heavenly Father, I swear, Heavenly Father, you love us and we want a great day. Protect our team, Coach Fatica, keep them safe, my family safe. I pray for anyone sick. I mean, he went on and on and on. So I wouldn't have gotten that experience if I would have went into the safe environment. So that's the other thing, like, you never know. It's like, what Forrest Gump says, life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And when you go out into the wild, wild world, you never know what you're going to get. And God can prove it's going to be great. So I love, my favorite thing to do in life, and I call it in my world pre-evangelization. Mm-hmm. It's like before somebody's ready to say yes to Christ, I get to be the one to go, hey, my coach was like you. Mm. And then they meet somebody else who... they're like, they have faith and they accept Christ down the road. I don't need to see, my fruit is the joy I bring. Mm-hmm. The fruit is the peace I bring, the kindness. My fruit isn't the results, even though fruit is results. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's tough, but definitely worth it. So.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah. I guess more practically, something else that's often on my mind. So obviously as, an entrepreneur or whatever it is, you have to have a level of discipline over motivation. So like, what kind of practical things do you do to keep yourself on track and working hard even if your motivation's not there? Like, how do you avoid burnout, things like that?
I think like the beauty about being an entrepreneur, visionary, or whatever you call it, is every day is a day to dream within that day. Mm. Like right now, I'm dreaming like, oh man, what's Courtney's life gonna be? You know what I mean? Like I'm like right now, I'm thinking about that, and for me, like that's what keeps me going and forces me to build disciplines. When I was younger, I would just stay in that dreaming phase, right? And I wouldn't be able to get out of it, and I would be like kind of like a mouse on a, running on that treadmill there, going nowhere, just staying in the same spot. But I've started to move a little by little, and we're really starting to grow because the discipline of the dreams is what's most important as a visionary, as an entrepreneur. So it's like, okay, this is what the dream is. It's the gym. Okay, well, what are the practical steps to get there? Well, number one, I need to keep myself centered and put, for me, my faith disciplines first and my, family disciplines, second. And then after that, the time that I've left, this crunch time, what can I do, right? So for me right now, it's like super exciting. Like we got this docuseries coming out. And like, it's going to impact so many lives. And like, so what's that going to do? So now I have to discipline myself within that. Mm-hmm. And then we have this book. And then we have the events that we're doing. So now disciplining yourself with what's put in front of you. I think a lot of times what people do is they dream, but they don't go anywhere.
Right. And they don't want to do the hard part.
Correct. And the hard part is disciplining yourself. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The best part of life for me, the best part of life, and I challenge anybody that's, if you want to do it on your own, you're going to go nowhere. Mm-hmm. Build a team, Jesus did. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus is the greatest leader. Whether you believe he's the Son of God or not, like, that's up to you. I do. He's the Savior of the world. But you might believe he's just a man. Okay, well, he had a team. Mm-hmm. Right? Any great man, any great woman in all of human history built a team. And I think it's so important, even if they're all volunteers, like you should have a team. I'm a part of your team. Can I be a part of your team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So, but I am. Call me and look for mentor advice, this and that. But then you have, other people. And you should have if you want to get somewhere, you should have a team of 6 to 10 people to say,
Okay.
this is my team. And you got to go, hey, just so you know, you're a part of my team. I think everybody wants to be a part of a team. And I think entrepreneurs and visionaries, when they dream and they do it on their own and they don't realize, there actually are a lot more people on your team than you realize. You got to acknowledge your team and explain to them you are a part of this. Because everybody, like, let's just say you write a bestseller and you best-sell my bestsellers, right? Which you could, which I think you can. And for me, I'm like, oh, I walked with that girl. You know, for me, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That I was small. It might be just this much a part of it, but I was a little bit a part of it. And I think that's how you discipline yourself. Why? Because you realize that people are counting on you. You know, last year we got a $2 million donation for a property. And if you know the story, like, you know, the donor pulled out for various reasons, you know, with COVID stuff and this and that. I think he got a little nervous. And I was devastated. You know, I was like, man. But I'll never forget one of my good friends, Terry, who was a big part of the team. He's always been there cheering me on, find ways to help and walk with me. He got up at a public event that this donor was at, along with, like, we're sharing the vision, it's gonna happen and the gym's gonna be built. And he said, I always knew the gym would be built, but it wasn't if, it was when. And that line, take the 2 million away. That line right there of somebody who's been a part of my team for over 10 years, that kept me going. So we have to realize is, if you don't build a team, you don't have a base to keep you going to your dream. You know, I'm always gonna, you know, let's say you're, you know, 50 years old and you got 5 kids, beautiful, and you're married, you go, what about those books? You know, because you said, this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
So now the team holds you, even if people are like, well, I don't have money to pay somebody. You don't know. It's not about a team that you're paying. It's about the team that believes in you. So to make it happen, to discipline yourself, you have to realize people are counting on you and there's a team. So everyone out there should start putting a list down. Who's your team? Like, so who's on your team? Do you have anybody else other than me? I mean, I'm a little piece of it.
Ooh.
Throw somebody on the spot. You don't have to say anything. But do you have anybody to help? Andrew's a part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a part of the team.
I would say my sister's part of my team.
Great.
Many of my friends are part of my team.
Yeah. Give them roles. Hey, I want you to know, for me to pull this off, you're this person. See, everybody wants to help the underdog. See, as I get older, they're less likely to be a part of the team. They always want money. They're like, hey, what are you going to pay me for? You know, like, what are you going to do this for? What are you going to do that for? And so like, oh man, I'm exhausting all my resources. I need to get all the help. You know, we're in trouble here. But when you're younger, they want to help the underdog. So always remember that. This is the best time. If you're in from 18 to about 30, 35, like, it's the best time for you to build a team. The best time isn't, you know, 35 or older, because that's when hopefully you're really on that next stage where you're building the infrastructure of your team. So I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, that kind of, I guess you kind of answered this question, because I was going to ask, like, how you handle doubts that come into your mind. Which honestly, I feel like sometimes doubts are a good sign, because that means you're headed towards something good. So it sounds like the answer to that is to just have outside or external people constantly reminding you that although things might not be going how you wanted them to, it's still gonna happen.
Yeah, but it needs to be deeper than that. Like, that's like the, you know, second phase. The primary phase is, I always tell my players, I go, they'll like be up 10, then they lose the lead, they're down 4, and I have to call a timeout or something. I'm like, the truth inside you dictates what's gonna happen from here. And what that means is, it's not the external circumstances that are going on, right? It's not when you make the bad pass because nobody wants to make a bad pass.
Right.
It's not the shot you miss because Michael Jordan missed a lot of shots, right? Is the truth inside you gonna dictate how you're gonna respond and replenish yourself? And that's, for me, my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Like, for me, that's what replenishes me. That's what gets me, oh man, I'm getting unfocused here. Let's get back on track. Because I always tell, if you're focused, you're unfocused. If you're unfocused, you're unfocused. And I was like, my kids are like, what that mean? I go, you go think about it. But the whole point is, we're not perfect. How's it going? It's Justin Fatica, and I can tell you I'm so thankful for your encouraging messages and engagement and joining us for our videos that we hope are bringing you encouragement when you need it most. Now, before you go, I want to tell you about some exciting news. Since I was 19 years old, it's my dream to build facilities for kids. Well, that dream is happening. It's a place where young people and their families can relax, socialize, work out, be encouraged, that they can make a difference in somebody's life every day or have their lives be impacted. That's where we need you. We need you to ask yourself if you'd like to help us to break ground. You can be a part of this mission within less than 1 year. But if we don't have help, we can't do this. Now, I know right now there are a lot of people struggling, but we're just looking for pocket change, a rainy day fund, or to connect us with partners who can help make this dream a reality. We want every single kid and every single family to know they're amazing. And it starts with you. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content so we can keep you updated, so you can keep us going. And together, remember, we are making a lasting impact. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your support. And stay encouraged. And never forget, you were made for an amazing day. And it starts with what lives within you. You're amazing. And I think the key to visions is, that's why there's a book, I always joke about it, I probably have said it on one of the podcasts, like why A students work for C students. There's a book on that. It's like a bestseller. And I believe it's because a C student learned how to fail well. And A students always like, I gotta make sure this. Yeah. And when they fail, not that an A student hasn't learned to fail, but if you can learn that the truth inside you doesn't dictate failure or success, man, unbelievable. So you gotta have that time where you're getting away 15 minutes, an hour a day, where you get away from everything and you go, what's the truth in here? Mm-hmm. And when you're in silence, everybody knows, if you sit in silence for 15 minutes, oh yeah, you know where you're really at. Uh-huh. And where you're really at is, oh man, I'm letting these people down. Oh man, I'm not good enough. No, you are good enough. No, you are a gift. No, yeah, you made a mistake, but go apologize. Mm-hmm. And so we have to get our silence, and I say silence is the determining factor of success or failure. If we can sit in silence and deal with ourselves in that silence, we can deal with anything.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you. My other question is, do you have like a particular instance that you remember when you were first starting out where it was like you weren't sure how you were going to survive financially and you had to really just kind of take a leap of faith? And
yeah, so I had a youth group here in Syracuse. We had 200 to 300 kids coming to it every week. It was going really well. And my daughter was being born, the beautiful strength Catherine, and she was born. And I get a call the day she was born that I needed to have a meeting with 5 of the leaders. Oh. The day she was born. So I'm thinking they're giving me a gift. And they're like, yeah, right. I'm thinking like I'm getting like congratulations, So I thought, leave my wife from the hospital and go have this meeting. So I sit down in the meeting, and it was all about how they're cutting all the funding.
Oh gosh.
And at that time, that was the base, so I could travel part-time and be able. So I had a decision to make. Was I going to go find a teaching job, and my wife go find a teaching job? Because I have a master's education, philosophy major, and an education degree, and so does she. Or was I gonna basically, out of faith, get out on the road full time and see what we can do to make this dream that was on my heart, to make it happen? And I remember my own, wife, crying, are we gonna be able to do this and that, the whole deal, and the challenge and the questioning and the doubting. And at that time, I had nobody working with us. Mm-hmm. So I'd go to the mall, and I'd walk around with my son at the time. He was 2 at the time, and my daughter being, my wife needed a break.
Yeah.
And in between trips I'd have, and I was doing a lot of trips for nothing, like just for get me there, just give me $200 to get me there. And all of a sudden, like I'm in the mall on the phone for 3 hours straight, setting up the events, booking the event, making this happen, making that happen. And in between every call, you're looking at your son like, am I going to be able to take care of him? Am I going to be able to do this? Is this possible? Is this reasonable? Is this going to happen? And I spent a good, I'd say, a good 6 months like pounding the pavement. And a few things happened, which was my first book getting published with Random House, and my first show on my life happening at that time. And that started like escalating it and pushing it out there and really moving forward and really making sure the dream would happen. And that was challenging. And I think my wife and I go back to those moments all the time. Like, is that going to happen again? You know what I mean? You always like, because that's your nervousness, that's your fear. How can that happen? But I want to let anybody know that like the beauty of having a dream and like really seeing it through is really trusting again in the people that are around you. That he's going to give you the right people at the right time to get you to the next step. And I joke around, one of the church leaders always comes up and goes, "Oh, I helped you to fly when I told you we didn't have the funding." I go, so in my end, I'm make yourself feel better, buddy. You know what I mean? Like in my humanism. But in another end, I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." And there's always decisions like that. And I think I think anybody who does it this way, you're going to be in those situations forever, because I'm doing the same stuff to make the gym happen.
Right.
I'm taking different chances, right? Is this going to work? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it didn't work here, so I'm going to go test it out somewhere else. Yeah. So you always have to be, and this is what I challenge people on, whoever takes the greatest emotional, mental, financial, and spiritual risk gets the greatest reward. Just how it works. The more you die, the more you rise, right? The more problems you put yourself into, the more opportunities that are going to come your way. What everyone wants to do is play it safe.
Right, yeah.
Now, you that's why you got to have a team to walk with you, to mentor you, right, to not take some unreasonable risk. But you need to take risks for rewards. I do this chant now with my team. I always say, the more you give, the more you get. And I tell them, you don't give to get. But I'm just telling you just how life works. Yeah. I'm training these young kids, like, give back, give back, give back. And, I believe in that. And it's Christ's message anyway, so I can't take it. He gave, he taught us if you give, you get, man. It just works.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a lot to digest. I'm like glad this is being recorded so I can like take notes later.
Oh, I appreciate that. But no, experience. I mean, I think experience, like, is the greatest wisdom. A lot of people are like, well, I watched this YouTube video, and like that's great. But I'm telling you right now, experience of taking those risks and you understanding the whole reaction for yourself personally. How did it happen? How did it not happen? How did you succeed? How did you fail? You got to get out there and do things. I think too many people are watching things. Too many people are on their screens, and there's not enough action. Like it's like you can go have your top 10, your top 10, publishing, podcasts, and I'm sure you listen to them. But what's more important is for you to get down and write.
Right, yeah.
And get a book out there, get articles out there, get things out there. That's more important than anything.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, I tend to over-prepare myself. And then once I'm finally, like, out there on the front lines, so to speak, it's like, oh, I actually didn't need to spend all of that time. Not that it's bad to educate yourself, but sometimes the best learning is to actually get out there and have the humility to say, I actually don't know what I'm doing, but I'm still putting myself in the environment to learn, even amongst people who I may not quote unquote deserve to be around.
For sure. So. Yeah, and I think it's like, look, I'm working with a publisher right now, and they're like, okay, get rid of this, take that. If we're gonna work with you, you have to do it. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh man, like the book's going in a different direction, not the core message, but how it's gonna be delivered, and what kind of research I need to do. But they're guiding me in that research, the process. And I think we have to let the process, we have to go find the process, and then while we're doing the process, learn. Not develop the process in our brain, and then picture, okay, if I do this, then this is gonna happen.
Right.
No, we need to get ourselves into the process.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, like, work with somebody who's done this before, because they're gonna have that process that they've already gone through, and they can help you and work on something while you're, going through the. I think too many people are just thinking about it, not doing.
Yeah, I think that's a huge difference.
Well, you're doing it now, which is exciting.
I think
some great stuff happening.
It's such a godsend, because I'm like, I was at a point where I was like, okay, I want to do this, I just don't know where to start. And I think that prevents a lot of people from actually, where it's like, you just need to try something, because chances are it might be the right thing, and if it's not, it's going to direct you to the right thing.
Correct.
So I do think just following your dreams, even if people get caught up in the whole, is that actually what God wants for me? And so they don't actually do it, but it's like, God puts desires on your heart so that you follow them, even if it's not actually what he wants for you. He's going to then use it to show you what he wants.
Psalm 37:4, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desire. So it's like, he's going to give that desire, right? Now, of course, it's not my will, it's his will be done. But I think you're right. I always joke with people, like, they're like, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to marry this person. And I'm like, okay, well, do you think she's the one? Yeah. Well, do you think you can spend the rest of your life with her and deal with her horrible weaknesses that we all have? Can you do that? And he'll be like, yeah. I go, well, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
I remember I went through that. I went and talked to Mary's parents. I was ready to get engaged to her. And all of a sudden, like, my boss goes, Sal, you talk like this. He's like, Sal, Fatica, when you gonna pop the question? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean, Mr. Bill? He goes, when are you gonna get some balls and ask her the question? I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I want to get a car, rent a car. He goes, well, I'll be your car. I was like, oh my God, true story. And so, like, I'm like, all right, okay, I'll call Mrs. Vale tonight. Well, I'll take you. Where do you want to do it, Fatica? I go, St. Patrick's Cathedral. All right, we'll take you tonight to St. Patrick's Cathedral. True story. And like, all of a sudden, like, I'm like, okay, all right. So that night, I called Mary, we're going out to dinner. So they take us out to dinner. And we went to the Little Italy in New York City. And I'm like, okay, drop us off at St. Patrick's. Like, drop us off at St. Patrick's. Now, Mary has no clue. She's like, first of all, he would never do this with Mr. Vale, there. So I get up to the doors, and we're ready to get into St. Patrick's Cathedral, because I want to go to the chapel to get, engaged to her and ask her, pop her the question. And I go to the doors, and Mr. Vale goes, Fatica, there's only one person who uses those doors. It's not like the Pope's. Those are the Pope's doors. Go over there. So I was so nervous. I go over the other doors, right? I get in. All of a sudden, I'm nervous. I'm praying. Mary's like, where are the Vales? Right? Because they were supposed to, like, come with us, but she didn't know they were just driving us. All of a sudden, this Latino guy goes, hey, senor, we closing. I'm like, oh man, no. Senor's got me. So then I pop the question. I'm like, I get on my knee, I pop. She says, yes, thank God. She's like, where are the Vales? Right? I'm like, this ain't about the Vales. We get out, we get on the horse and buggy, this and that. We have a nice night. We call our friends all day. But my point of the story is, just go do it, man. What are you waiting for? What are you, like, I already talked to the parents. Why was I trying to make it into this whole big thing? And I think that's like everything in life. Just, Nike had it right, man. They don't have very many things right, but they got this. Just do it, man. Just go do it. And don't try. Oh, I'm trying to. No. Go fail. Go succeed. Because you learn more from failure than from your successes. I tell people, like, the people that you lose with and stick with you are going to be your best friends.
Right.
The people that win and see you keep winning that stick with you, you're not guaranteed they're going to be your best friends.
Yeah.
So go lose, especially at your age. You should be losing all the time. Lose here, lose there. Lose. You don't have much to lose. Not to be a jerk, but like what do you got to lose, right? You don't have 2 kids counting on you like where I was at. You know what I mean? You don't got a wife crying saying, oh man, I'm going to have to go back to work. You're not at, which is okay. You know, that was my cross. But just go do it, man, and have fun. And I think that's the other thing. Like, you got to have fun. It's fun to take chances. It's not fun to sit in your room and wonder about what you can do. This Even on a date, you know what I mean? Go out on a date. If it doesn't work out, it's like, just tell him no. Make him feel. If he can go lose by himself, he'll be okay.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Karen.
It's a great story.
Hey, you like that story? I don't need like me. I didn't know I was going to tell you that story. I've never told the podcast world that story, but it's one of my favorites. When are you going to get some balls? That's what he did. And actually, he's still around my life. And it was one of the greatest encouragements because he called me when he was struggling. And he goes, do you know nobody keeps in touch with me but you and a few other people? And it just meant a lot that he knows that like I care about him. And I think that, you know, that's what life's about, you know. You're never going to meet a perfect person.
Right.
But you're going to always meet somebody that you can love.
Awesome. Trying to think.
You got anything else for me?
Trying to think.
So I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
So like, tell everybody so you can speak it into, you know, because one day I might have you back on here 20 years and go, hey, here she is, you know. So what is your dream? Like, I shared for you a little bit, the general, but what is on your heart? What do you hope for?
I feel inspired by just even right now, you saying to just try something.
Don't try it.
Just do something.
Don't try. Because try to stand up.
Try to stand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you did it. You did it.
Do or do not, there is no
Yeah. Yoda.
Yeah.
Yoda's the real deal, man. You don't love that mini Yoda or big Yoda for nothing. I know you can have a mini Yoda. That's hilarious.
Okay, so yeah, I do feel inspired right now because I have a few different things I'm like juggling and I just need to pick one. So like, for example, I went to school for creative writing in English. I have a specialization in screenwriting, which is still like a dream that's like, it's in one hand, but then I also have the freelance stuff I want to do. And I also just started like a blog / Instagram thing.
Great.
So I guess that's actually another great question. When you have several things you're interested in,
I don't know anything about them.
When do you choose, like, I need to not have my attention divided, right?
Correct.
So when do you know, or how do you discern which one to go for all in first? And is there some sort of like surrendering, like, okay, if I choose this one, this other one might not happen? Correct.
And I think it's not if, but when. So, like, I surrendered the gym and the arena dream, like to build the gym and this other dream of the arena for many years. And I focused on events, speaking and writing and getting out there. But now the gym is closer to a reality. It's not there yet, but it's closer to a reality. I guess the point is you might have to spend 20 years in screenwriting. You might need to spend 20 years in freelance to get to screenwriting.
Right.
I don't know your story, but I think you need to go to what's in front of you. And you give everything you got to what's in front of you. And the second thing is, go with what's not a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people want to like create these hobbies for themselves that they think they can make money, but there's no revenue stream. You know, like do something that is going to create, even if it's little by little, a revenue stream. Okay. Don't go for the dream that's over here that's not going to have a revenue stream. Not because it's about money. It's more about valuing the time. Okay. You know, that things that can create a revenue stream for you. Okay. So I think that's the other thing. You got to be creative because if not, right, like let's say you're paid for none of these things right now. It's just a hobby like I told you before, right? But if you start getting paid for it, it's not a hobby. Right. Yeah. Then it's a part-time stipend, part-time job.
Okay, so I guess like sitting each of the ideas down and
Yeah.
being like, okay, which one, they're all good,
Yeah.
but which one is the most business friendly, I guess, right
Correct.
now.
Right now, yeah. And going for there, and which one can you connect? And I think that's something you can research. You know, what is the need for this in our climate right now, in our culture? Mm-hmm. You know, right now, I mean, screenwriting, as you know, from a film perspective, like the docuseries world is where it's at right now. Not that we're having one and that's why, but just because of the financial burden, it's not as much. Mm-hmm. And right now, there are very few films that are getting out there, the high-end films, because of how much money has to go into them and the less people that are watching film. Mm-hmm. So why would you go into a genre that's just not realistic right now? I mean, people don't want to listen. You want to go for your drink, but it's just a hobby, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, God bless you, but you're just a hobby. You're wasting your energy. But why not? You know, work that, you know, on your hobby time, but on your work time, work towards something that can create those revenue streams. That's what I've always done. Uh-huh. Like, honestly, anybody that hangs out with me, my best gift is the sports world and the basketball kids and, like, helping them. I mean, I got kids that are getting F's and D's and banging every chick in town. And now they're, like, wanting to be married, safe sex till marriage, and want to have a house, a car, and a family, and they're getting all A's and B's. I mean, that's fruit. That's results. Yeah. Like, but guess what? I had to go speak for 25 years to make it pliable and possible that I could put my time into kids like that.
Right. To support that other dream. Use one dream to support the next one. Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Yeah.
Fortunate or unfortunate, you gotta be able to eat and you gotta be able to, you know, sleep. You know, so, and but you know, you wanna keep those dreams alive. You're not done till you're dead. You know, that's one of the books I want to write. You know, you're not done till you're dead. You know, and you don't know. Like for me, my God's a big God, and I could be 70-something years old and the gym's built. And how worth it would that have been that I kept that dream alive since I was 19 years old, all the way till 70. I think that alone is what the journey's about.
Right.
And sometimes I wish that happens so that I can go. I don't want to because I won't be able to work out very much. You know, I better be able to shoot a hole over my head. I can't even get up there anymore. But I think if that happened, I wouldn't be sad. Because I would say to every entrepreneur, every visionary, anybody who has a dream, guess what? Don't ever let your dreams die. Don't let anyone tell you it can't happen. And if I can say that because I lived that, it'd be beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Can't wait for that.
No, and then for you, you know, you're headed for great places, and I'm glad I could have you on because anyone that's out there, I think now they believe that they can go to great places, and I just hope the best for you. I love your family, I love the future, and I appreciate all the questions too, because there's a lot of people that have these questions and they don't know what to do, so this can help them.
Yeah, it can be paralyzing. Sometimes you just need someone to believe in you, which is huge. Sometimes that's all it takes. That's
what it's about. So give 2 practical things young people can do to close out, like to stay encouraged. Yeah, what these young adults, what can they do to stay encouraged?
Oh, I would say figure out what your core values are. For me, I chose I guess 4. So connection, humor, fun, and discovery. Figure out what those are.
Love it.
Whenever you're depressed or feeling anything negatively, pick one.
So you're going to connect with people, you're going to laugh?
Yes.
What are the other 2?
Discovery and fun.
What's that mean, discovery for you?
For me, it's kind of like learning new things, new passions. Great. So for me, that it's helpful because when you get down in the dumps, it's hard to recall okay, how do I get out of this? So if you have that list already made up, just pick one and go for it.
That's great.
That's my main thing.
That's great.
Second thing, honestly, just FaceTime a friend or something.
Great.
You know, just kind of get yourself physically and mentally active and engaged in something external so you're not too caught up inside.
Yeah, and if you go to my website, justfatica.org, I don't know why I can't get .com. They want me to pay tens of thousands of dollars. We missed for a month, and then some Chinese guy bought it. I mean, seriously, now we're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars for my own name. What's this world coming to? This is bad. But if you go there, it says, you know, our goal is to prove, you know, to everybody we meet that they're amazing. And so, like, that's what she's saying. Go FaceTime somebody. That's what Courtney's saying. Go FaceTime. Go show them. And I want to prove to the world that you are amazing, that you are a gift, and that your dreams, they can happen. And you know what? That's why you came on the Encouragement Conquer All podcast. The Encouragement Conquers All podcast is to help you to believe that you're worth it, to help you to believe that you matter. And if you know anybody that's discouraged, share this podcast with them. Go to YouTube, subscribe to YouTube, and check out all the podcasts. There's so many on there. Like I said, from MBA trainers, so many. Go on. You wouldn't believe it. My grandmother's even on, 104-year-old. I mean, she's ridiculous. If you want to talk about, she'll smack you right into shit. And so she's 104. So, you know, and we did the podcast when she's 102. And you go on there, there's young people, you know, there's older people, there's business leaders. But guess what? You're a part of this, a part of the amazing nation. We're going to change the world. Let every single person in the world. And that's what I hope my legacy is, that when I'm dead, I'm like, hey, at least believed everybody was amazing, even people that hurt them. So have a great week, and I'll see you again next week on the Encouragement Conquers All podcast. You're amazing. And so is Courtney. Look at her. Top notch, all right?
Thank you, Justin.
No problem.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Encouragement Conquers All podcast with Justin Fatica. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this episode with someone who needs a little encouragement. For more uplifting content, follow us on our social media pages. See you in the next episode.